Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Jamaican law. In particular, we're going to be discussing criminal justice and administration, because recently, as recent as last Friday, an amendment was made to that particular law. It appears as if the Jamaican Labour Party and the press, whether that be the Gleaner, the Star, the Observer, or any independent journalist that's running around in Jamaica doing their thing, has had some form of conflict, because that's the only reason why I could think that the Jamaican government would want to dig up some old law that was actually written by the British when we were actually colonized by Britain. As you guys know, most of Jamaican law are laying dormant. They are not as active as the rest of the world's law. Every so often, when something affects an individual personally, and that person has an IQ, I would say, over a mouse, that is when oftentimes laws are dug up and contested. So in regards to journalists, or pretty much anyone, if you should take a picture of someone who is going to court or someone that's in court, you could be fined $1 million Jamaican dollars. That is just ridiculous. Any individual, whether that person is pressed or not, takes a photograph and or make a sketch of an accused that's going to go to court or in court, could be fined up to $1 million Jamaican dollars. Ridiculous, right? But here is where it gets even more ridiculous. Like I'm saying, this particular law is one of those laws that has been laying dormant for how many decades now? It gets crazy because in respect of the law, the fine was actually $20. Law is law, and if it states $20 in 1914 and that law has never been amended in 2019, $20 is still $20. Kamina Johnson Smith, who is of the Jamaica Labour Party and in defense of this amendment, is pretty much saying it is okay to raise the fine from $20 to $1 million. Lambert Brown, who is an opposition senator, challenged this amendment being passed by saying it is an oppression of freedom of the press, which I do agree with Mr. Brown on that note. It is ridiculous because on top of the $1 million fine, they're pretty much saying the individual who takes the picture and or make a sketch of a liking of the accused or the inmate could also face up to 1 year in prison in addition to $1 million fine. So to me, that just sounds like the government is telling the press that they have too much freedom of expression, they have too much freedom of printing what they want to print and displaying what they want to display. As you guys know, when it comes to journalism, it's all about writing, but nothing brings out one's writing in a published media than a photograph and or a sketch. If I know that the present government of Jamaica knows that, and if they're trying to deprive the press of that right, of that freedom, they're simply trying to deprive the press of having any attraction to their published writings and the story that they're telling. Before I go any further, let me quote Clause 1, Section 33 of the Criminal Justice and Administration Act of Jamaica. The Criminal Justice and Administration Act of Jamaica states, "No person shall take or attempt to take in any court any photograph or with a view to publication, make or attempt to make in court any portrait or sketch of any prisoner." Law is law, and we must respect law. We must also respect the construction of law and the amendment history of law, which includes editing laws or eradicating laws. I was all in support of Lambert Brown's point of view until Lambert Brown compare Jamaica's rule to the United States of America. Lambert Brown's argument was saying that it is common practice in the United States of America and other countries of the world to take pictures of prisoners and draw sketches of prisoners that are in court. So it should be the same in Jamaica. Right there, I kind of oppose against Lambert Brown, because even though what he said is a fact, Jamaica is Jamaica and America is America, and we have to respect each other's rules, each other's law. I would support Lambert Brown 100% if he had kind of voted more to eradicate the law than to try to tailor the law to mirror the United States of America or any other country around the world. Jamaica needs to find its individualism. Jamaica needs to find itself and stop trying to be like Mike. Stop trying to be like the next country. Okay, the judicial system of Jamaica was carved out by the United Kingdom because Jamaica was once ruled by the United Kingdom, or Jamaica was a colony of the United Kingdom, or is it? That's another story. But today the Jamaican government and the Jamaican people has the power to amend and or eradicate laws and make new laws for their country. I'm not getting enough information from the ground in Jamaica, but I am suspicious that somebody must have annoyed or upset the government, why the government would dig up this old law and increase it from $20 to $1 million. Considering that if you go and say the last 10-15 years, this is a practice that's been going on in Jamaica for years. I mean, Vybz Kartel went to prison, and Vybz Kartel photographs was taken on numerous occasions as he transferred from court to the vehicle that was going to take him back to prison. Nobody actually went to prison for that. But according to this new amendment, that is an illegal act. Whoever took that photograph could have actually gone to prison. Okay, the law wasn't amended yet, but technically, you know, law has always turned on the axis of technicality. So technically, the photographer and or journalist who took that picture could be fined 20 Jamaican dollars at the time. While other countries of the world have always allowed journalists and photographers to take pictures of inmates, or artists to make sketches of inmates with no real consequences to it, Jamaica decided to erect an old ancient law and now will penalize the Jamaican people for $1 million and a year and up to a year in prison for taking a picture. In my opinion, it's ridiculous. I am siding with Lambert Brown halfway because I do believe that it's an attempt to oppress the press. But at the same time, I disagree with Lambert Brown, who believes that because America does it, we should do it. I would rather the Jamaican people, the Jamaican government, to eradicate the law, let it be open for another 10 years, then come back and review it. What I mean by that would be, if you eradicate the law, then it wouldn't be legal or illegal to take a picture or make a sketch of an imprisoned person. Another point that I did agree with Lambert Brown on was the simple fact that recently someone in Montego Bay was caught with an illegal firearm and ammunition, and that person was only fined 400,000 Jamaican dollars. So if you can have an illegal gun and firearm, and then you will be fined only 400,000. But if you take a photograph of a person with your cell phone, or you decided to draw a sketch of someone that you think look like the person, you could go to prison for up to a year, and you would be demanded to pay 1 million Jamaican dollars. It's crazy. But again, you know, when it comes to justice, when it comes to legal, the law, if you guys have been following my channel for a while now, you will know that it is one of my favorite subjects, law. And as much as it's one of my favorite subjects, I know certain facts that may be annoying or brain tickling to some other people. First and foremost, there's a fundamental rule to law, which states the ignorance of law is no excuse. That pretty much means that the discipline of law does not give wiggle room, does not give pardon. You know it or you don't know it. Guilty is guilty and innocent is innocent. The second thing about law is that it has its own language, and even though it sounds English, the interpretation of law or sometimes the statement of a particular law just sounds like a foreign language. And for that reason, most people rather to employ an attorney to defend them, or an attorney to interpret the law, or an attorney to combat whatever legal situation there is. Even though law was written to be fair, if you notice when it comes to Lady Liberty or Lady Justice, that statue that represents law everywhere in the world, it is a statue that is uniquely designed with a blindfold over her eyes. That means pretty much she is not supposed to be seeing color, race, sex, or height for that matter. Pretty much that symbol represents that when it comes to law, there is no prejudice. However, a lot of jokes have been made over the years that Lady Justices often look underneath her actual blindfold. And in most cases, when you see the scales of law, it is very rare that the scale is ever even. Oftentimes, when you see the scale, is either lopsided one way or lopsided another way. And I have always taken that as an indication that the scale is lopsided only because law isn't necessarily fair. Anyway, let me bring up two other laws that was brought to my attention as Lambert Brown and Kamina Johnson Smith was combating about the Criminal Justice and Administration Act. Because as much as I know law is like an endless pit. I don't know everything about law, and if an issue doesn't come up that draws my attention to a particular act in Jamaica, it would be fair to say I didn't know it. I don't know it until I know it. So I recently learned about Jamaica Larceny Act. And Jamaica Larceny Act is ridiculous because the previous fine for violating this act was just $40. And now that $40 have changed to $3 million. No, for all you guys at me wondering, what is the Larceny Act? So pretty much the Larceny Act prohibits anyone from stealing or killing animals, whether that be a dog, a bird, a chicken, or its carcass. So if you should steal a dog or a chicken, whether it's dead or alive, in Jamaica, you could be fined up to $3 million. The previous fine to that was $40, or 3 times the value of the actual item that's stolen, or no more than 3 years in prison. And that's been amended to a strict 3 years in prison. So you know, law, I'm laughing, but it's very serious. Law works in technicality. So pretty much what I'm saying, you could just walk out of a shop forgetting to pay for a chicken, and if the owner's attorney or the owner themselves can prove to a court, can convince a court that you stole that chicken, you could go to prison in Jamaica for 3 years, and that would be legal. While at the same time, if a person in Jamaica should harbor a criminal, they would only be fined $20. That has not been amended yet. And worst, if you should assault a police officer, an officer of the court, or a justice of the peace while they're on duty, according to the law at the moment, you will only be fined 40 Jamaican dollars. It is ridiculous. When to assault a police officer on duty, you will only be fined $40, but to steal a chicken, you have to pay $3 million. What this shows you is how much Jamaica's law needs to be paid attention to, needs to be reconstructed, and we need professional people to address these matters. We need a whole bunch of law students and ex-judges to find the valuable time to sit over these old law, reconstruct them so that they benefit the people of Jamaica and that they benefit the government of Jamaica at the same time. And build it on a Jamaican statute, not on the basis of foreign country. We can always take little tips and little ideas from other country, but I implore Jamaican government, whether it's the PNP or the JLP or any other P that comes into power, to keep Jamaica Jamaican, keep Jamaican law Jamaican law. Take away the British aspect of it, you can leave a little of it, take away the American views of it, and make it Jamaican law. At the end of the day, considering that Jamaica is a democratic society that gives human rights and liberty its full respect, without a doubt, our laws in the end will mirror the United States of America's law and the UK's law. But at the same time, you still wanted to say it's Jamaican law. We don't have to be like everybody else. We can be our own self. Let me know if you agree with me. But before I go, I have to big up some people.
Big up yourself to the maximum.
Today I want to big up a channel called DACH or DACH space W. I also want to big up My Name is Jade, and last but not least, I want to big up a channel by the name of Zion.
Big up yourself to the maximum.
And that's pretty much it for today, people. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about Jamaica's law, the amended laws, the fines that remains on the book for the laws that I've mentioned. And as you guys know, I always appreciate your opinions, whether it's in agreement with me or disagreement with me. I appreciate your thumbs up and your thumbs down, because at the end of the day, it still means that you have listened and you have participated. And like I always say on my channel, each one teach one. Until next time, people, peace.